Do you ever feel like people take you for granted? Like they suddenly talk over you or walk all over you? Maybe dismiss your ideas, pick on you, assume you're not that smart, or think they can just get away with pushing your boundaries? If so, you're definitely not alone. But I'm going to let you in on a secret. That very rarely these days happens to me. And it's not because I'm louder or better. It's certainly not because I'm aggressive. It's not because I'm intimidating. It's because I have learned how to command respect. And today I'm going to show you what that looks like, what it actually looks like, not the social media version or the alpha male performance version, but the embodied nervous system rooted version that changes how people respond to you before you even say a word. And I'm also going to talk about the downsides because, especially for women, commanding respect does come with trade offs. Hi, I'm Amy Rose White. I'm an integrative psychotherapist and astrologer making videos on psychospiritual self healing tools. So, when I first moved into my current neighborhood, there is an HOA, which I had never had to deal with before. Lord help anyone that has to. So, if you've ever lived somewhere with an HOA, you already know there's always at least one person who makes it their personal mission to police everyone else. And in our neighborhood, there was that person. Constant complaints, about deck violations and yard decorations and just, petty reports. And my neighbor, and now good friend, we'll call her Stacy, was constantly being harassed by this one person. And she wasn't the only one. Eventually, things actually escalated to a point where legal action was mentioned and the person finally backed off. But during a very long period of time, almost everyone in our neighborhood had a story. And one day last year, I casually mentioned to another neighbor friend that this person had actually never once said anything to me, not a single complaint. And my neighbor immediately said, "That's because she knows you are not to be messed with." And I laughed because I knew exactly why she said that. And it really has not always been true. But for the last 15 years or so, absolutely. So, what changed? Commanding respect is not about dominance. It's not about being the loudest voice in the room. It's almost like the opposite of that. It really comes down to one fundamental principle. We have developed an unquestionable sense of worthiness in our body because we've kept small and large promises to ourselves over and over again. And we've created that sense of worthiness in our body, not just intellectually, but somatically. So we move through the world as if we matter. We think and behave as though our time, energy, and space have value. And that shows up everywhere in how we walk, in how we make eye contact, in how long we pause before responding, in what we tolerate, and definitely in what we don't. When we truly believe through lots of practice that we're worthy, we stop over explaining ourselves. We might stop nervously laughing, to soften our presence. We stop apologizing for existing, something women do all the time. And people feel and respond to that shift instantly. So let's talk about something really uncomfortable, which is the nice guy or nice girl pattern, which would be like over smiling, over accommodating, over explaining, over giving, like being such an easy, generous, nice person. At first glance, it looks kind, but often underneath, there's this deep need to be liked. And when your need to be liked is stronger than your commitment to your own integrity, people really sense that. They might not consciously think like this person lacks boundaries or is kind of trying to manipulate me into liking them, but they feel that pliability in us psychically. So respect drops when people sense that you will abandon yourself to maintain approval. Confidence that commands respect comes from something really different, which is being willing to be disliked. We are willing to disappoint someone. We are willing to say no without over justifying. We are willing to shine brightly even though someone might be threatened. And that willingness changes the entire dynamic. So here's what most people miss. Respect is a nervous system signal. If your body is anxious, slightly hunched, your voice is uncertain, your energy is scattered, people unconsciously register that. But if your body is generally regulated, grounded posture, steady eye contact, calm tone, people register that too, including when you're upset. So you could feel dysregulated, like, I'm pissed, or I'm really upset about that, or that's not okay, or I'm really sad. And I'm going to be in that. I'm not going to try to step over that and pretend. That is also a way of being very grounded, even if you might feel dysregulated in your body. So, commanding respect is less about what we say and more about the coherence of our system, like we're allowing all of us to be there. So, if someone challenges us and our nervous system collapses into people pleasing, they learn something real fast about us. If someone challenges you and you remain calm, pause, and respond deliberately, keep breathing, they learn something very different because our body communicates before our words do. So that's why building that grounded sense of connection to ourselves is foundational. If anxiety runs your system, you will leak signals of uncertainty, and certain personalities will really test that and take advantage of it. Respect is really built in micro moments, like not laughing at jokes that undermine us, not rushing to fill the silence, maybe not responding instantly to every demand. That's a very important one. We make eye contact when we speak. We take up space physically. We let our no be complete without over explaining or making excuses. And here's something a little more subtle: we don't overshare to bond. When someone tries to probe or test us, we decide whether it's appropriate to do that. And you're okay if the room feels slightly uncomfortable for a moment. Like there's a pause, that's stillness, that's power. People feel it, and that's respect. So let's talk quickly about the cons, because there are some. When we command respect, fewer people will try to mess with you, which is nice, like my nosy neighbor. But some people will feel threatened, especially if you're a woman. You may be labeled as cold or intimidating, unapproachable, or too much. You might even receive social pushback because you're not playing the softness for approval or the pick me game anymore. So there is a cost, but here's the trade: it's temporary discomfort from others or long term self betrayal. And when I slowly, over time, in my own healing journey, shifted into embodied worthiness, I lost some connections for sure, but the quality of the connections that remained exponentially higher. People who respect boundaries feel safe. People who need you small will drift away. And that is really not a loss. That's like a pool filter working on your behalf. So now let's talk about energy. You don't have to be an esoteric, mystical person to understand this. Although I am one of those people, when someone walks into a room, grounded, clear, and self-trusting, you feel it. Their presence is bright. It's not loud, it's bright. And there's a difference there. When we trust ourselves and we live in integrity, our energy becomes coherent. There's not this frantic reaching or desperation. Like we're okay not looking at our phone. We're okay if those two people are talking and no one's talking to us and we're just kind of standing there, on our own, doing our thing, doing nothing. Not apologizing or trying to get more comfortable. And people sense that. Some will challenge it, but rarely. Most will make a mental note and adjust their behavior accordingly or even be really attracted to that. So that's what my neighbor meant. It's because she knows you're not to be messed with. Not because I'm aggressive, but because I've become congruent with who I really am. At the core of commanding respect is this: you trust yourself enough to risk disapproval. If someone crosses a line, you address it. And with this particular woman who made this nice seeming compliment about me, I will tell you another quick story. That one of the very first interactions we had was her husband had marched into my house barking at some people who were helping me move a refrigerator. They had left their truck on in front of their driveway for too long, apparently. And he was very upset, walked right in. I hardly knew this person, walked right in and, was really upset with them. And we all just stood there kind of shocked disbelief at this person. Then he left. And a couple days later, when I saw him on the street with his partner, who's the one that said this thing about me not being one to be trifled with, I called him out on it. And I was kind of shaking physically and my voice. And I just said, I want you to know that that won't ever happen again. Now, looking back, I could probably have said it in some different ways. Like, I really didn't appreciate that. Next time, could you do X, Y, Z? But I didn't. I said, that's never going to happen again. Are we clear? You will not do that into my house unannounced. It was tense for a few months, maybe even the first year that I lived here after I confronted him that way, and they both kind of scuffled away. But we're actually friends now, and I really trust them, and I feel like that's mutual, and That's something that she learned about me early on. And, I'm a single mom. I've been divorced for a long time. I've been self-employed almost all of my career. And if you don't let people know that you're not afraid to be disliked, they will never respect you ever. So again, that's an example where if someone underestimates you, you don't scramble to prove yourself. You calmly demonstrate your competence and where you stand. And if someone doesn't like you because you're boundaried, you let them. Like my neighbors weren't thrilled with me for a while, but that's maturity. The need to be universally liked keeps us so small. The willingness to be misunderstood sets us free. And paradoxically, the more willing we are to be disliked, the more respected we become. If you struggle with anxiety when asserting your boundaries, if your body shakes when you speak up, this isn't about forcing yourself to be more dominant. It's about building regulation, because embodied worthiness is a nervous system state, and that free nervous system reset that I have for you is linked below. You can use it daily. Strengthen your internal stability. When your body feels safe, your presence changes. You walk differently, you speak differently, you own the room without even trying to. And here's the truth. Commanding respect isn't about controlling others. It's about no longer abandoning ourselves. When we stop shrinking to make others comfortable, something very deep in us shifts and the world responds. If you enjoyed this video, got anything out of it, please like, share, subscribe, and hype it. I'll see you in the next one. Check out these videos above. And until next time, bye for now.